Welcome to On Air with Russell of Hotels, where we talk about everything hospitality, from hotels to influencers and everything in between. We will feature guest interviews with hospitality professionals who will share their experiences. Your host, Russell Edmond, has spent over 25 years in the hospitality industry, beginning his career with Marriott International in hotel operations before moving into the sales arena and becoming a relationship building director of sales and marketing. Russell then went to the other side as a hospitality entrepreneur. He now consults in the hotel and meeting space, which includes being the CEO of Russell of Hotels Group. Did I mention he was a veggie foodie? Yes. Russell is always looking for good non-meat eats. Please welcome your host, Russell Edmond.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels live hospitality talk show. I do appreciate you guys joining me today, and I appreciate the people that jumped with me from LinkedIn over to YouTube, because today, until the foreseeable future, I'll be live here on my YouTube channel, right? On Air with Russell of Hotels. So actually, the YouTube channel is Russell of Hotels. What was the reason for the jump? I'll talk about that a little later, but I guess it's just never being satisfied with anything. I mean, as especially when it comes to the show and stuff like that. And you can always do better, or try to at least think that you're doing better, right? So, and it's okay to try different things. It's okay to do kind of market research on your own, and that's what I do. I try to do my own market research just to make sure, that I'm transmitting better, that I'm getting more comments, I'm getting more engagement, and that's what it's all about. I'm gonna talk about that a little later, but that's basically kind of the reason why I did that. But then Dylan says, "Thank you so much." See, Dylan, one of the people that made the jump from LinkedIn over here, is I still hold out hopes for a viewer with LinkedIn connections to help us remedy your visibility. Yeah, hopefully. And one thing, Dylan, that you mentioned a couple of days ago was that can you do like a simulcast? Basically, can I transmit or broadcast to both platforms at the same time? Some of them you can. I'm still trying to figure out the LinkedIn, and if I'm able to do it from the platform that I use, which is the Ecamm, if I'm able to do LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time, I'll definitely do that. I'm looking into it now, but I wasn't able to figure it out today. But I appreciate your comments on that, and definitely will. And the good thing about YouTube is that I don't have to look at my phone to see if there's comments coming in. The comments now, because of Ecamm communicates better with YouTube, so the comments come right there on the screen, so I can actually see them without having to look over here at my phone. So I can just look like I'm looking now, and I can see the comment from Dylan. So there you go. But we're show number 153. We're on air with Russell of Hotels, live hospitality talk show. And like I said, it is live here on YouTube. And I will post the same video onto LinkedIn as well as Facebook and everything else, Twitter, and everywhere else that every other platform that I'm involved in. So, but I do thank you guys for choosing to switch over with me, and kind of, join me on this journey to discover it, to discovering if this is going to be a better fit for me or not. But I don't know if you guys remember, but I did this on YouTube before. It's just been 5 months, right? So 5 months ago, I was actually on YouTube. So there you go. And then after this is over, it not only goes on to LinkedIn, but it will go on to my podcast platform. So if you want to listen to it, you don't want to see me, you just want to listen to what I have to say, which is fine. That's cool too. Wherever you look for your favorite podcast, you just find it. Just Google On Air with Russell of Hotels, Spotify, Google, whatever. It'll be there. Okay, so you can't get away from me. Okay, so but anyway, Today is Tuesday, March 29th. Connecting people and collaboration. That's what we always want. We want people to come on. We want people to be engaged, to make comments, because it's all about interaction with me. And, if you have questions and if I'm in a subject that I'm talking about something and if somebody makes a comment, I'm going to make sure I read that comment. And if I don't read the comment, I do apologize. I did do it on purpose. Unless you're saying something crazy, then I'm not going to address that at all. But, we'll just go with the flow. But today is show number 153. I'm a marketing disruptor of the status quo. What does that mean? Well, just being on this show is being a marketing disruptor. It's doing something that totally goes against the grain, right? Totally goes against anything that I ever did, right? Up until, I guess 3 years ago when I started it, right? So I wanted people to know what I did. I wanted people to, within the hospitality space, to maybe have a voice to come on and talk about, how they got started in hospitality, to talk about them, talk about their brand, and, what type of business are they looking for? I mean, that's the time when you can come on and brag about your brand and your accomplishments and things like that. And that's perfectly good, right? That's a good thing, right? This is a good place to come on and do it because guess what? I understand the struggle because I've been there too. The hospitality struggle. These streets in hospitality can be rough sometimes, and I understand. Just the putting yourself out there and trying to be hospitable to everybody, and sometimes people don't take that hospitality kindly. Some guests, what I mean, or maybe even some employees or some of your associates. They go south on you too sometimes. But I understand because there's probably not a situation that has happened in a hotel that I did not experience. Okay, so there you go. When you've been to 14 different hotels over the course of 25 to 30 years, you experience a lot of stuff, right? Even if it wasn't directly my responsibility, being a manager or director or general manager, you got involved somehow, right? You just couldn't just, I was never in a hotel, or I was in one that was so large that, it's 1,500 employees that, you didn't see everybody. Everybody didn't know you, right? So that's a little different. So that's the anomaly. But the other hotels, you knew everybody knew you. If there was issues, you got involved, right? So there you go. So with the exception of one hotel, and I was in sales then, that was the Westin Bonaventure, because it was 1,300 rooms, and we had at least 1,500 employees, from what I understand. So you didn't see everybody all the time. You didn't even see the managers a lot, right? You saw them once a month because there was this mandatory manager meeting that you had to attend, and you saw them then, and you would see people like, "Were you here the last time? Do I know you?" And I remember going to one, and I knew this guy. He was a manager. It's like, "Hey, we used to work together before." I had been there like a year. Didn't even know that he'd even worked there. And he didn't know I worked there, obviously, right? So, but yeah, that was funny. But anyway, you see how I just get off topic and just roll with it. But hey, that's what it's all about. That's what a podcast is all about, right? You gotta be real. Keep it real. So anyway, where am I? Maybe I should do this. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should click on this, and maybe this will help me out. Industry stuff. Now, this used to be industry news, but I say, you know what? It's not necessarily news. It's stuff. It's stuff that you do that I talk about, the things that are going on in the industry. And it doesn't have to be something that's national. It can be something local. It can be something sales related. It can be operational related. It can be whatever. So that's why I just said, you know what? I'm not going to put news. I'm just going to put stuff. So that's what I did. So there you go. So let me get to where the industry stuff is. MPI, Meeting Professionals International. They're hosting a Global Meetings Industry Day, and that's April 7th. Is that like next Tuesday or something like that? I don't remember. But April 7th, 6 to 9 at 2-Bit Circus in downtown LA. So, of course, these things are in downtown because guess what? I'm in downtown. I'm in LA. So, as you can see, the Hollywood sign in back of me, I forgot to mention. And it's a beautiful day here. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it was raining like crazy yesterday. Today is like 64 degrees and sunny. But it is cool, a little cool, but it's a beautiful day. I mean, opposed to yesterday, compared to yesterday, it was raining from about, I'll say 7:30 to about 2 o'clock, and then broke up a little bit, but then it was on and off all night. But yeah, so Today is a beautiful day, and I say, you know what? Let me show the beautiful mountains or the hills of the Hollywood Hills. Okay, and that's where the Hollywood sign is. And then Dylan says, with 1,300 rooms, the manager you must identify with must be a department head. He a department head? He was an assistant. He was an assistant director of housekeeping. Yeah, he was the assistant director of housekeeping at that time, or the assistant director of rooms, one of the two, right? But I was in sales, and like I said, you would go to these meetings, you would see these people, and they're like, "What the heck? I know you work here." So it was comical because, like I said, every month we would have this meeting, and every month I would see somebody different. That like, did you work here? Were you here at the last one? Yeah, I was here at the last one. But it'd be like 100 managers, at least, and everybody's eating and drinking and having a good time, and I remember we had an outing on it was a Marina Del Rey. It was on one of those yachts, right? And so some people are up on the top deck, some people are on the bottom deck, and you didn't see everybody. Like, weren't you on the boat? Like, yeah, I was there. Where were you? But you didn't see everybody, right? So it was just wild. It was just wild, just the experiences, just the kind of, because I forgot all about that, right? How big the Bonaventure was, and the people that sometimes you saw them, sometimes you didn't. So anyway, but thank you again, Dylan, for that walk down memory lane, back down memory lane. So anyway, MPI is hosting a Global Meetings Industry Day, April 7th, 6 to 9 p.m. At the 2-Bit Circus in downtown LA. Now, the 2-Bit Circus, I've been there before. It's kind of like, if you want to say, let's see, I want to say it's a lot of video games. They can be the old school arcade games, video games, and then it's a lot of what do you call it? Gosh, what do you call that? I can't even think of it. The technology you put on your eyes and all that, VR or whatever. I can't even think of what it's called. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right? So a lot of VR, virtual reality games. So it's kind of cool. I mean, you can put on these things and you're like fighting against whatever, fighting against creatures and things from other, planets and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. So it's an adult Chuck E. Cheese. Let's just put it like that. It's an adult Chuck E. Cheese. So that's what 2-Bit Circus is, downtown LA. I've been to it at least once over the years, and it's just kind of cool. So if you have nothing to do in your meeting planner or hotelier, and you're part of MPI, or even if you're not part of MPI, you can still go. Just look at MPI's. This is a West Coast chapter of MPI, or Southern California chapter of MPI. So check it out. And if you're interested, it'll tell you what the fees are and all that stuff, what you got to pay to get in. And then I'm going to be at the Hoxton Hotel. Hoxton is it got renovated. It was something else before, but it was renovated in 2019. I've never been there before, so I got invited to go check that out tomorrow. They're going to be having some type of reception or whatever, maybe like a grand reopening. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it's downtown LA as well. It's a 174-room hotel built in the 20s, like 1921. I love those hotels, so I'm definitely going to go check it out. They have 2 restaurants, a bar, and all these new hotels that are popping up downtown always seem, and they're not new, they're renovated. They're maybe the brand is new, but the buildings have been there. But they always have rooftop pools, which is always interesting to me, on a 1920 building, and you got a rooftop pool. So that's going to be cool to check out too. So it's the Hoxton, Hoxton. Now they are a European brand, if I'm not mistaken. So just check out Hoxton DTLA and let me know. So virtual reality metaverse. Yes, you are correct. That's it. So thank you. Thank you for helping me out on that one. I was at a loss there, but yeah. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. Hey, did you guys know that there were rental car shortages? So my advice would be, if you're trying to rent a car, especially here in LA, you need to make sure you rent that thing early, to make sure and get there early, because sometimes they run out. I had a couple situations, not me, it didn't happen to me, but a couple people have told me that, they went through one rental car agency and they ran out of cars before they got there. So there's definitely a shortage of that. So make sure, just like if you're planning trips for the summer, make sure you get your airline ticket early. Make sure you book your hotels early because rates are due to go up. They're not going to stay low, right? They're going to go up. I'm not saying they're going to, go from $200 to $400 here in LA, but they're going to go up. So just make sure if you're traveling, if you have plans already, like say you want to go to Hollywood, which is right here in back of me, right? Plan ahead of time. Don't just show up to LA like, oh, I'm just going to stay here, because you never know what's going to happen. So I would advise you to plan early as possible. And then I want to just apologize to it was this event that I was supposed to attend last week that I wasn't able to because one of my kids had a basketball game that they made a tournament, right? So they made the tournament. They made the playoffs, and of course it's in tournament fashion, right? So if you win one game, you play the next day, right? So they won on Tuesday because the playoffs started on Tuesday, and they went through Friday. They went to the championship game, right? So I wasn't able to attend this. It was called the GPS event, and it was luxury hotels that were represented there, and it was at the SLS Hotel in Beverly Hills, and I wasn't able to go, right? So I just want to apologize for not being able to attend to that. I mean, it was not my, it was not, I was not just gonna, I don't, it's not my thing to sign up for something and just don't show up. But in this case, I signed up for it, but I couldn't go, so I couldn't show up, right? So, but there was a reason for it, so I do want to apologize for that because I'm getting like emails from people saying I wasn't able to meet with you, but I want to send you something. So I'm like, okay, well, thank you, and I apologize. I had to apologize to them online too, of course, but I just want to just publicly apologize to the people that planned the GPS event here in LA at the SLS Hotel last Thursday. I was not able to make it because when your kid gets into the playoffs, right, you got to be there for them, right? You got to be there to support. So I do apologize for that. And Dylan says, this is all due to the lack of computer chips for the new cars to finalize. Yes. I'm glad you said that. So when I mentioned that the shortage of rental cars is due to, they can't restock their cars or replenish, or if they're, delinquent on cars, they can't they don't have cars to put back out there or to purchase because of the cars are backed up out in the Pacific Ocean, right? So they're not able to unload them and all that kind of stuff. So no, thank you so much. Lonnie Wolf, thank you so much for joining. Lonnie Wolf, I appreciate that. Lonnie Wolf says, Lonnie Wolf in the house. So I appreciate you and Dylan making the jump from LinkedIn over here to YouTube. I do appreciate that. I don't take that stuff lightly, believe me. So so back to what I was saying, rental car shortages. So make sure you book more in advance, right? Don't wait till the last minute, especially here in LA or any major city. Do not wait till the last minute to book your rental car, your hotel, or your air. Okay. And I have a question for you guys for next week. This is for next week. Okay. I'm gonna ask the question today. I'm gonna give you time to do some research, and next Tuesday I'll explain or answer the question. So the question for next week is, this is the first time I've done something like this, so pay attention. What is the Green Book? That's the question. What is the Green Book? Okay. And what is the significance of the Green Book? Okay. You don't have to answer that now. I'm not looking for people to answer now, but I'm looking for people to do your research and let me know next week, same time. Okay. The same time the show comes on. Just want to know if you guys know what it is. That's it. Let's see. What else? Oh, let me jump on here. Now you guys know I do a little sponsorship. So let's And you guys know, please note that I do not own the rights to this music. I don't own the music. I didn't prepare it. I didn't write it. I'm just playing a little snippet of it. Okay, so thank you to the Eagles for doing that for me. Um, but yeah, so if anyone's interested in like sponsorships and things like that, you can always just email me, and I'll give you the email address as we get further in the show, and you guys can feel free to. If you have questions about anything, just let me know. I appreciate it. And then Dylan says, did Brandon send you any of his non-meat bacon? Yes. How do you know about that, Dylan? He gave you some too. Is he like? I thought he was the only one. He's only giving this stuff to me, so he's giving it to you too. Yes. And thank you for bringing that up. So, Brandon, who is an investor in the Aqua Hotel in Nicaragua, right? Aqua Resort, beachfront resort, what I just showed you. Now he works for a company that they sell non-meat eats, right? You know, the plant-based food, right? So he gave me a sample of this. It was called bacon bits, but it's made with beans. And okay, I used to eat bacon back in the day before I became non-meat eats. Okay, so let me just throw that out there, right? I wasn't always a plant-based eater. Okay, I went most of my life, and then for the last 13, 14 years, I was a vegetarian, and for the last 3 years, almost 4 years now, I've been a vegan or 100% plant-based, right? So he gave me these things, they're called bacon bits. And so I tried them, and I eat those things on salad. I mean, it tastes just like bacon bits, but they are made with beans, and they have some type of hickory flavor to them. But you could not tell the difference. You could not tell. I don't care who you are. Okay, let me just read what Dylan has to say. No, but I follow Brandon. Okay, so he follows him. Okay, so so you need to, if you follow him and ask him for some. See if he'll send you some. But I've had them, and they are very good. I eat them on salad all the time. In fact, I won't eat a salad here at home without those bacon bits on there because they're so good. So, but yeah, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you, Brandon Gersten. But thank you so much for sending those bacon bits. He said he's going to send me more. So, but no, they're very good. Oh my God, they don't taste like beans; they taste like bacon. And they're crunchy, just like bacon. Okay, so just like I remember. And people always say, why is it that people that are vegan, they always want to try things that taste like the real stuff? It's because we need some association with something, right? So that's it. So I miss bacon. I mean, just like you eat bacon or anyone else eats bacon, I miss it. I just don't eat it. But if it's something that tastes like it, and it's still, plant-based, then I'm here for it. So there you go. So people stop hating on us because we don't want to eat meat. You feel free to eat what you want to eat. We feel free to eat what we want to eat. But like I said, it's always an association. You're always going to have like, oh, it tastes like meat, or it tastes like hamburger. Okay, yeah. I go to Monty's Burger, Monty's Good Burger here there's one in Culver City. And does it taste like hamburger meat, or does it taste like a real burger? Yes. I would call it the vegan In-N-Out. Okay, so anybody that knows In-N-Out here in Southern California, they're not just in Southern Cal now, they're as far as Texas now. So, but yeah, we always look for things that we remember eating. So, I mean, I eat a lot of just straight up, I eat a lot of cauliflower, broccoli, things like that, whatever. But I mean, that still tastes like, it did as a kid, right? But burgers and stuff like that, I eat hot dogs. Now, there's some hot dogs that need some work, okay? I have to say that. There's some hot dogs that need some work, okay? But the burgers, those are spot on. But the vegan hot dog, what do you call them? The Beyond Meat hot dogs are pretty good, okay? They're bigger. They seem to have a little meatier texture to them. And the flavor is lit, so I do have to say that. And Lonnie says, my wife has been buying at Prager's Black Bean Quinoa veggie burgers. Yes. I've had those as well. Yes, I love those too. Thank you so much. Yes, For people that just join in, I'm about hashtag non-meat eats, which means I'm 100% plant-based. Some people call it vegan. I don't call it vegan because vegan is a whole lifestyle. That's not my whole life. I don't, my belts still have leather. I'm sorry, I haven't made my way from that part. But the eating part, the things I eat are 100% plant-based. Okay, so that's why I said I cannot be a vegan because I don't have a whole vegan lifestyle. So that's why I use non-meat eats, or I'll say I'm plant-based. Okay, so there you go. Just want to throw out that disclaimer to everybody before I start getting stuff in the mail. No, I'm just joking. Let's see. And Lonnie, you're here. I got to send out a quick shout out to Lonnie for the introduction yesterday. So, you know what? When people support you, and I appreciate that, Lonnie supports me. I mean, he's gone from LinkedIn over here to YouTube as well as Dylan. But Lonnie introduced me to somebody yesterday that I thought was great. So Lonnie, for people that don't know, Lonnie is a housekeeping consultant for Amec Group, AMEK. So they're let me see. Hold on. So Amec Group is a hotel consultancy, management, development. So they do hotel consulting, they do management of hotels, and they help you in developing. So they go from A to Z, right? So they go from boutique to large hotels. They go from a concept or an idea to completion, right? So not many companies do management and development, okay? Either you do one or the other, okay? Well, this particular group they do all of it, right? So I happened to meet with Mr. Luis Galati. He's a co-CEO of the Amec Group. Had a great conversation with him yesterday. We just kind of, what he did, what I do, my experience, his experience, things like that. So it was great. So but I never would have met him without Lonnie, right? So Lonnie set up a Zoom call for us yesterday morning. So it was a great meeting, and he went through his whole thing. It's probably 30 minutes or so that we talked, right? And we may not, and this is the thing, right? We may not do business together. We may not ever talk to him again, right? But this is the thing. It was someone new that I didn't know, right? And we only got to know him. We only got to know each other is because the connection between Lonnie and myself, and then Mr. Luis and Lonnie. Okay, so that was the connection. Lonnie brought us together. And I can always say now, I say, oh yeah, I know Amec Group. And of course now I'm talking about it on this show, right? So I just think it's important that the connections that we have, you never know where they're going to lead, right? So it's important to have those connections. It's important to talk about it. And his willingness to come on and just to talk to me about what he was doing. I mean, that's great. So I appreciate Luis for coming on, for doing the Zoom yesterday and talking to me, and I appreciate Lonnie for introducing us. So like I said, this can go no further. I doubt that it will. I'm sure it's going to go further than that, but it's just a new connection, right? It's someone else that I knew that I did not know before, and vice versa for him as well. I mean, he didn't know me before, and now he knows me. So there you go. So that's what it's all about. And it all became possible because of the relationship that I have with Lonnie. Okay, Lonnie's been on my show. Lonnie's been supporting On Air with Russell Hotels for a minute now, right? So that's what it's all about, right? And it's like one of those like organic relationships, but it started with social media, right? So for people that don't think, oh, social media, blah, 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 well, you're not doing something right. If you think that social media now, there's a bunch of crap with social media. Don't get me wrong. Okay. The bad stuff always tends to rise to the top for whatever reason. But there's a lot of good stuff that goes on as well, especially if you're trying to build a brand and things like that. And like I said, I never would have met Lonnie. I wouldn't know Dylan. I wouldn't have known Mr. Luis Galati either, okay, without social media. And there's tons of other people too. I'm just naming these people because they're actually on here now. And I met with Mr. Galati yesterday. So there you go. So I want to thank Lonnie for that. Appreciate you. And then I see 2 comments. 1 hour. 1 hour strong. Yeah, I guess it probably was an hour. Yeah, it probably was an hour strong yesterday. So thank you. FYI, you're a vegan foodie. I'm a red. Lonnie says I'm a vegan foodie, and he's a red wine snob. Okay. I understand. I understand. And Dylan says there will be a day when Lonnie writes a book and I'm buying copies. His hospitality tips are illuminating. Yes, 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 yes. Lonnie, and make sure if you guys don't follow Lonnie or Dylan on LinkedIn, you definitely need to, because Lonnie has been putting up some interesting things that have to do with housekeeping. Some neglect. Some things that we tend to neglect. I remember being it wasn't necessarily a housekeeping manager, but at that time, I was a general manager, okay, or director. So I don't remember what it was. Well, this one particular company that I worked for, I think it was Interstate Hotels at the time. They had this thing called Fresh Eyes, right? It was like a program where a GM from another property would come in to say, just to say, for an example, I'm a GM of this one property. A GM from another hotel would come in and we would do walkthroughs, right, for several days to see, because he had fresh eyes, right? Because sometimes we tend to see the same things over and over again, and we don't see a problem with them. Like, say there's a light out, like a exit light that's missing a light bulb at the end of the hallway on the second floor. That we've been walking by it for months and we hadn't noticed that light has been out. But we bring this person in, this third party who's not familiar with the property at all, for his fresh set of eyes. So he or she is walking through here, and he or she is picking up things that are negligent or deficient with your property that you didn't see because you've been used to seeing it all the time, right? You're used to seeing your property every day, day in and day out, and you forget that, oh, yeah, there's a light out right there. Or, yeah, that carpet is frayed right there, and then it's a safety hazard, and we need to, have that repaired, or whatever it is. But Lonnie is he's showing some people fresh eyes, right? But this is the thing. You have to want to see this stuff too, right? You have to go back to your property and do a walkthrough and really take a look at what you're seeing, because a lot of times we do suffer from this lack of fresh eye syndrome where we don't see the deficiencies. We just think everything is, it looks good, and we look at the surface. We don't really, detail look like, oh my God, that light is out. Because it's actually hard to see. So some of these exit signs, they have 2 light bulbs in them, right? And sometimes you don't notice that only one light bulb is working. So Fresh Eyes, it was a great concept that Interstate Hotels had. Hopefully they still have. Well, it's not Interstate now; it's Aimbridge. So hopefully they still have that. But anyone that's listening, it sometimes pays you to have someone from the outside, a third party, come out and do a walkthrough through your hotel and point out any deficiencies that you may have missed. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And then what does Dylan says? There may be a day. Oh, he already said that. I already said that. Okay, hold on one second. Let me scroll down. Dylan, the books will be on the house. That's a promise. Okay, that's when Lonnie writes his book. Okay. So, but anyway, I just wanted to mention that. But thank you so much, Lonnie. And once again, Mr. Luis Galati, I appreciate the time we spent yesterday. And I know that won't be the last time. I just know that. Okay. So next. Is there something else I'm supposed to talk about? Hold on one second. I tend to think there was something else. Maybe not. Okay. So 3 things that I always talk about this is for me, right? I mean, if you want to jump on the bandwagon with me, that's fine. But be intentional, make decisions, and take action on what's important to you or what's important to me. Number 2, be you. Be your authentic self. Be you. Be real. Don't be fake. Okay? You darn sure say, I'm not fake, right? I'm here having a good time, right? That's what it's all about. Number 3, be represented, because my representation matters, okay? It's important to me that people that look like me see me, okay, and hear me, to see that they can do this as well. They can have a hospitality talk show or whatever kind of show, podcast or whatever you want to call it, or they can work within the hospitality space, right? because we're looking for good people, right? So I don't think we do a good enough job of recruiting either. Do we do a good enough job and letting people know that this is a career option to be in the hospitality space? If that's hotels, if that's restaurants, if that's, front office manager, supervisors, whatever, housekeeping, convention services, and, sales, catering. A lot of people don't even know what those positions are, what they entail. But if we don't tell people, if we're not happy about what we're doing or excited, who else is going to be excited about it, right? So sometimes we have to go out of our way and say, hey, this is what I do. And it's one thing that I did. It was a couple of weeks ago. I posted something, and it's on LinkedIn as well as Instagram and probably my other platforms with at Russell of Hotels. What I put, I made a statement basically saying, make sure you post what you do, or make sure you let people know what you do, because we think they know what we do, but they don't, right? So there's always someone that's like, what does Russell do? I see him on these lives or whatever, but what does he really do? Okay, come on, tell me. So it was important that I did that, and it resonated with several other people, right? So several other people, they chimed on and like, you're absolutely right. I get this all the time. People don't know what I do. So thank you. And they started posting things about what they did and putting on LinkedIn. So there you go. So I always say all you need to do is reach one person, right? And I actually reached two people with that post, right? And they took action because they immediately reposted it and changed it around so it came from them, right? And that, which is great. That's how you should do it. And then Lonnie says, walking the property interior, exterior to include the roof, boiler room, and stairwells is a daily SOP. Yes, it should be a daily SOP. Is it though, Lonnie? Sometimes we get so caught up in doing whatever and we forget those things, right? We neglect those things, and then we don't remember until someone calls us on, like, hey, I was just in your parking lot and all this stuff was going on, or I was on the, stairwell of the third floor between the third and fourth floor and saw this and saw that. So yeah, we need to get in the habit of that. That's one thing that I did do as a GM. I walked the property. We had a standing meeting with it was myself, the GM, the chief engineer, and the director of housekeeping. We all walked every morning to make sure there was nothing deficient. If there was something deficient, they would make sure it would get taken care of, because you didn't want the next day to roll away when we did this walkthrough again and I saw the thing that we pointed out. That would not be a good day if that happened 2 days in a row and it's still deficient. That wouldn't be a good thing. So that should be a daily SOP. Thank you so much for saying that. So once again, be intentional, be you, and be represented. And this is one person that's being represented. And how to buy a hotel. This Davon Reeves. Miss Davon Reeves is a 34-year-old African-American young lady that has like 3 hotels and looking to buy more. And not only looking to buy more, but she's teaching people how to buy a hotel. What kind of concept is that? Who does that, right? Who wants to teach other people to buy hotels? Shouldn't she just be trying to buy them for herself and hold this information in? No, because it's important to her that she's leaving a legacy for people, right? So it's important to her that she's educating as many people as she can to teach them how to buy a hotel, because someone taught her, or she gleaned enough information from her being an asset manager for years, from what I understand. So she has a blueprint for it, right? There's no secret sauce or whatever, but there's a blueprint to follow, and she has the blueprint to follow. So check it out. So Google Davon Reeves, or just how to buy a hotel, and it's some interesting information. Just let's just say you didn't want to buy a hotel, but you just wanted information about how to do it. I would just buy the book anyway, just so you can see it, okay? Because there's a lot of good information in there that people don't even think about. So totally different from managing a hotel, because now it's yours, right? So it's a little different. But there's ways that you can invest, and you don't have to. You can hire a management company, right? Because some people, I don't want operate the hotel day to day. Well, no, you don't have to do that. You can actually hire a management company. Most hotels are run by management companies. They're not owned or not managed and run, owned and managed. There are some that are like that, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of them that are owned by investors and they're managed by management companies. So it teaches you all that stuff. Okay. So way to go, Davon. And every week I'm going to say this. Okay. So I started at the beginning of the year and I'm going to continue. Every week I'm going to talk about how to buy a hotel and that you should buy the book. So there you go. Who is your best brand advocate? Hold on one second. Before, unfortunately, a lot of properties do not do such. They don't do what you do. Is that what you're saying, Lonnie? Yeah, yes, you're right. And then Lonnie also says the amount of violations within are unreal. Yes. They're yeah. I walk through hotels now, Lonnie, and sometimes it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous some of the stuff that you can find. I don't take the pictures like you do, but sometimes I will go to a hotel and ride the elevator up, get off on the floor. Now, and of course, these are hotels that don't have the security on the elevator where you have to have a key to get in there. I mean, there's still a lot of hotels where you can just punch a button and go up, and you can walk the floors, right, and just see things, right? Or sometimes I get access to some rooms, and maybe somebody is allowing me to check out the rooms. And what I'll do is I'll take the stairway down and I'll walk the floors just to see, what I see, right? And sometimes there's things that are deficient that should not be deficient, right? Like, and what I mean by that, it can be light bulbs that are out, it can be things that are broken, that obviously didn't happen that same day, right? But you do that. Just walk a hotel. You can walk in the public space on the first floor, whatever. You find some things. But there's some hotels that are just on it, and of course we applaud those. But there's some that there's some stuff that's lagging. But it takes us to point these things out to people too, right? So I think it's our responsibility as well, is to pull them aside or maybe have a little conversation with them. Hey, just so you know, blah blah blah, and hopefully they take that as, okay, you're trying to help me out. But sometimes people, they can go south on you. People are like, well, who are you, and why are you telling me this? That kind of stuff. So be on the lookout for that, okay, because that can happen. All right. So, but anyway, what was I saying now? Who is your best advocate? Is this an easy question? To me, it's easy, right? Because some people would look at this question like, well, it's my guest to stay here all the time. No, you're your best advocate. Okay, I'm the best advocate for Russell of Hotels, right? So because if I'm not excited about what I do or excited about my brand, how are other people going to be excited about your brand? Okay, say you're recruiting for positions at your hotel, and you go to a job fair and you're just like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Yeah, we're looking for this, we're looking for that, and they're just nonchalant or just not really into it, not excited, enthusiastic. Well, who wants to work for somebody that doesn't have any energy or lethargic or not really excited about the brand that they're representing? They're not even presenting their brand well, right? So we need to make sure we are excited because we want people to work for us and we want them to be excited, right? So when I ask who's your best brand advocate, that's you. Okay, look in the mirror. That's you. You're the best brand advocate, because if you're not excited about your brand, no one else is going to be. I'm sorry, I had to take a drink of water. So there you go. So you are your best brand advocate. How do you increase social media engagement? I mention this every week, and I'm going to continue because I want to make sure you guys understand it. Consistency is one thing, okay? I talk about this all the time where people will call me and say, hey, I've been posting on this and posting on that, and I'm not getting anything. Well, continue to post, or let's change it up a little bit. But if you're not getting any engagement or no one's liking whatever you're putting, there's something that you're not doing right. there's something that's not right, or maybe it's just the consistency or the lack of, right? Meaning maybe you just started doing this. Is there a gauge, or okay, well, if you do this 2 weeks, you're automatically going to get this. I couldn't say that, and no one can say that. Okay, no one can say that everything I post is going to get X amount of views, or X amount of likes, or X amount of engagement. If they say that, they're peeing on your head and saying it's raining. Okay, I don't know if you ever heard that term before. That's an old Southern term. Okay, so you don't want that, right? So just be consistent. If you're doing it for several weeks and you're not getting anything, then it's definitely something that you're putting that's not right. Something that some of your verbiage or the pictures, or maybe some of them are not working. Okay, just call me and then we'll talk about it. But be consistent. You definitely have to be consistent first. Second thing is value. You got to be adding value to someone, right? So if it's hotels, I mean, what about the hotels are you trying to create value? Are they cheaper, less expensive? Are they clean? Are they easy accessible? Whatever those things are, you have to make sure people know that, because you don't know what people want until you put it out there, right? You're never going to figure that out, right? But you have to put things out there. You have to do your own market research. I mean, the one thing that I did, I was not getting the engagement that I thought I should get. Now, I was getting engagement on LinkedIn. Okay, is it as much as I should be getting? I don't think so. So that's why I changed the platform. Okay, so that's when I say I'm doing my market research. That's what I mean. I'm doing market research because I want to make sure that the people that should be seeing it are seeing what I'm putting out there. So there you go. And I'm going to talk about that a little more in a minute. And then authentic. Make sure you're being yourself once again, right? You see the theme here? Be consistent, be yourself, be real, be authentic, add value. Okay, so like I said, I always say, if I couldn't come on here like, oh, well, now all of a sudden, I'm not laughing. I'm oh yes, well, we're gonna do this today, and people, you guys would be like, what is it? Who is this clown? Okay, that's not the Russell I know, right? The Russell I know, he's laughing, having a good time, he's giving good information, but he's having a good time doing it, right? So I would be fake, okay, if I wasn't, laughing and joking or whatever. So there you go. Remember that, okay? Okay, so now that you know those three things, how to increase social media engagement, what tools would you use to do it? I use IG Reels and I do lives, right? So they support each other. So the IG Reels and the live support this show, right? I don't just rely on the show, which is every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, live on YouTube, right? I don't just rely on that to get the message out. You have to do other things to support these things, right? So the IG Reels supports the lives support the show supports the Reels, and it's just this vicious cycle that keeps going, right? So you can't do one without the other two. At least that's how I look at it, right? So if you're not on Instagram, you can use TikTok. TikTok and IG Reels are the same thing. And then YouTube actually has YouTube Shorts, where you can pair video with music. Okay, and then you can post those same things onto LinkedIn, onto Facebook. Well, Facebook has a Reels feature as well. But one thing that I'm finding out, and I mentioned this, I think Dylan knows this as well, is that long videos are not accepted, or not accepted. You're not going to get the engagement that you think you're going to get on LinkedIn if you're doing live videos, right? You're just not going to get it. In fact, let me click on this next one. And it says, what's going on with LinkedIn? Okay, so before I get to that, Dylan says, how was your, I'm going to get to that, Dylan. Dylan is like, he's like, we're almost out of time here, and I need to know about Brothers Meatball. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm going to get there. I'm almost there, Dylan. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so what's going on with LinkedIn? So LinkedIn, okay, long videos, LinkedIn doesn't want it. The algorithms don't want it, okay? So they want more stationary postings, meaning nothing flashy, nothing is moving. They don't want stationary verbiage, right? So like this right here says, what's going on with LinkedIn? This is long videos, sharing links, and why did I leave LinkedIn? It just wants that kind of stuff, right? So no videos, nothing longer. Let's say nothing longer than a minute. Okay, so I think if you keep it under that, it may be okay. But if you looked at my last postings on LinkedIn, you will see that I think I threw one video in there in the last 2 weeks, other than the show that I was doing on there, right? Because I wasn't getting the engagement. I went from getting, hundreds, if not thousands, to like 10 to 50. Now, when you see that, now you know there's something with the algorithms that's going on, right? And it's not just one algorithm, there's many of them, right? They don't want you to figure this stuff out. So right now, long videos, they're not preferred on LinkedIn. You can still do them, but you're not going to get engagement. Okay, so there you go. And meaning it's not going to go out to enough people, right? It may go to maybe your first level of people. It won't reach the second and third and fourth level of people. So if it went out to 100 people, maybe only 10 people will see it, right? And maybe 5 will make a comment, or maybe 5 will click that they liked it. Okay, so there you go. And that's why if there's buttons if you're watching this, and I'm not sure if you can like what I'm saying, you can give thumbs up, hearts, or whatever. Those things matter. Okay, so if you're listening to the show and there's, like you said, you have the option to do a thumbs up or clap, simulation clap or hearts or whatever, please do those, because those matter, especially on LinkedIn. So if you're doing lives on there, you're encouraged, or your audience is encouraged to do that, because you get better placement, or it goes out to more people, and that's what you want, right? So, and sharing links is not preferred either. So if you have a link that you're going to share with your people, there you go. See the thumbs up. So if you do the thumbs up, that gives me more cred. That gives me more street cred, right? So more people, it will go out to more people. Even during the show, if they see a lot of those hearts and thumbs up and whatever else, it will go out. YouTube will see that and say, oh, okay, he's getting some engagement. Let's bring more people in. And that's basically how it works, right? So it takes time to figure this stuff out, or it takes time for other people to figure out and let me know. So, but my job is to tell other people, right? So that could be a reason why we're not getting the engagement we think we should get on LinkedIn. So that's why I jumped ship and came over here for now. Okay, so but yeah, sharing links is not a good thing. Before, we thought that's what they wanted, but they don't want that anymore. The algorithms don't want you sharing links either. So and so it figures everything out. So, but anyway, so that's the reason why I left LinkedIn. Who's hiring? And just be patient with me, Dylan. We're going to get to what you asked me. Who's hiring? Real quick. Pacific Hospitality Group. They're looking for a regional director of sales. This is in Santa Ana. Now, mind you, I'm in Southern California. I'm in Los Angeles. So that's why these jobs are Los Angeles or greater LA area positions. Pacific Hospitality Group looking for a regional director of sales, and they're working out of their corporate office, which is in Santa Ana, California. The Paseo Hotel and Spa, which is in Huntington Beach. I love that hotel. And they're looking for a director of business transient sales, BT sales. The Sagemont Hotels, I'm not familiar with them. They're looking for a corporate director of sales and marketing. You'll be based in Irvine. UCLA Conference Center. They're looking for a conference and catering event manager, and that's in Westwood. Okay, so they're always looking for somebody at UCLA. What's going on over there where they got all this turnover? What is going on? But no, UCLA, they have a great, fantastic conference center there, state of the art, okay, right on the campus. LA, in fact, who stayed there? Cincinnati, the Bengals for Super Bowl, they actually stayed. This is where they stayed. Okay, so little inside information. They stayed at the UCLA Conference Center, which is a hotel too. It's like 250 rooms, I believe. So yeah, so they stayed there. So You guys didn't know that, did you? Until I told you. Okay, and then the LA Athletic Club, they're looking for a director of finance. Now the LA Athletic Club is actually a hotel. Okay, so they have the athletic club part, but on top of it is a hotel, right? Historical. I think that was built in the 20s too, if I'm not mistaken. So they're looking for a director of finance, and that is downtown LA. In fact, Terry, what is Terry's last name? Honorado. She's the director of sales there. She's been there for like 20 something years. Okay, I've known Terry for probably at least 20 something years, right? So she's the director of sales there. So if you happen to go there and you're interviewing, and Terry is part of the interview process, tell her you know Russell of Hotels. Okay, maybe you'll get the job. I don't know. We'll see. But but yeah, shout out to Terry. If she, I'm not sure if she even listens to the show or watches the show, but if anyone that's watching or listening knows Terry Honorado, tell her I said hello, please. She's one of my favorite people. We used to go to, we used to do monthly in Sacramento back when I was in hotel sales, director of sales or whatever. We would go to the same shows, SGMP, which is Society of Government Meeting Professionals, and Cal SAE. We would do all those together. So yeah, so that was always fun. Once a month, you knew that you were going to see certain people. Okay, that was back in the day, right? I wonder if they still do that. Do they still do SGMP and Cal SAE? I'm not sure. Non-meat eats. So, okay, Dylan, this is you, right? So non-meat eats. So me and JT, I can't give him his real name, but JT, we'll just say that. So we go every week to a new vegan spot or a plant-based spot in LA. Now, these can either be completely vegan restaurants or they have a lot of vegan options. Brothers Meatballs on Sunset and Vine in Hollywood. See Hollywood right there? It's right down the street from there. They're actually 100% plant-based, right? So the meatball, oh my God. I mean, and he'd never been there before. I've been there once before, right? So when I told him the meatballs were, they were unreal, okay? He didn't believe it. He was always skeptical about, yeah, right, okay, yeah. Oh. So he took one bite, and he got the meatball sandwich. It was a verde meatball sandwich. So it had green, what do you call it? It had pesto, but the pesto was arugula pesto, okay? Which I didn't taste, but the way he was talking about, it was the best thing he ever had, right? He just took one bite and he was like, oh my God, he ate this sandwich. I would say probably about 2 minutes. It was gone. We were ready to go. I'm like, dude, I'm not even finished eating yet. So he had the verde, okay, verde, green. Let's say the green meatball sandwich, if that makes sense. It had a pesto sauce on it, creamy arugula pesto sauce. And I had the eggplant parmesan sandwich, which I never had, because before I just had the meatballs, right? So both were delicious. Both were lit. I recommend it 100%. Go to, if you're ever in Hollywood, Sunset and Vine, okay? Brothers Meatballs. But the thing of it is, it opens at 4:30, so don't try to get there at lunch. I'm going to get there early. I'm going to get there at noon. Well, you'll be disappointed because the week before, we were supposed to go there, and I didn't check the time, right? Because it used to open like at 11, right? So it opens at 4:30 now. So just make sure you know that. But it's very good. You would not know it was vegan. You would not know. You would know the cheese, like for the eggplant parmesan sandwich that I had. The cheese tastes like mozzarella cheese. Okay, it's all vegan though, 100%. So if you're ever there, check it out. Don't forget to go. Okay, next time. I'm not a huge wine drinker, but they do have wine. Yes, they do. What's your favorite red wine, Lonnie? I used to like Silver Oak back in the day. Okay, so because I worked in Sacramento for years, and that's near Sonoma and Napa, and we would have access to all this California wine. It was just ridiculous. Okay, so that's where my love for wine came back from when I was in Sacramento. And Silver Oak always, for whatever reason, a Silver Oak 1980. Oh my God, I don't know if it was 86. It was so good. But I haven't had wine. I don't think since I left Sacramento, and that's been now 20 years. I'm sure I had some wine since then, but nothing as good as a silver oak. Okay, so there you go. Let's see what else. So Dylan, you should be happy with that. Okay, and what do I do? People always ask, well, what does this dude do? I'm a brand show off. Brand show off. What does that mean? Content creator, um, brand, marketing, showing off your brand. My job is to, make sure you're noticed in these busy digital streets, okay? Because people will get lost in a lot of the stuff, right? You post things, and just like I mentioned about LinkedIn, how the algorithms, only support certain things. I help people get through that stuff, right? Because I know I talk to enough people, and I have people on my, in my tribe, in my community that will help me get through some of the stuff. Because I have this guy who's in Switzerland, but he is a LinkedIn expert. So he's the one that told me all this stuff because he's privy to that information, right? So he's giving me the heads up on a lot of the things for Instagram as well as LinkedIn on how to get around some of the stuff and how to still be noticed. So sometimes you have to change up, right? So if you're thinking videos were working, go to still pictures, right? Still pictures with a caption, but the caption has to be dope. It has to be fire. It has to be, you got to make sure you're still following those values, right? You're adding value, you're being consistent, and you're being authentic, right? So you still want to make sure you follow those rules, but the video portion is what the algorithms don't like right now on LinkedIn. So my job is to make sure I'm posting things for people or advising people on how to post things. So when I say I'm a brand show off, I'm here to show off your brand. Just like, what brand am I showing off right now? The Hollywood brand. Hello? It's been there for almost an hour, right? Or it's an hour. It's 2:03 now. So yeah, so that's what it's all about. Being a brand show off. That's one thing I do. Next thing, hotel site selection. So I help companies, organizations with finding the proper hotel for their group. Groups are 10 rooms or more. So say if they're planning a corporate retreat or a conference or a meeting or anything like that, or family reunion. I've done those, right? So I assist those companies with that, with hotel site selection, looking over their contract, contract negotiation, pricing negotiation, all that kind of stuff, the ins and outs of that stuff. Make sure the stuff that's in the contract should be in there, because you don't want to sign for something that doesn't apply to your group. Because I'm not going to say a lot of hotels, but there's some hotels that will use a boilerplate contract, which means they're using the same contract for everybody, and they're not taking things out. They're not taking into account that, okay, this is a social group, and anything that's in the social group contract shouldn't be in a corporate group contract, right? So everything's not interchangeable. Like, okay, well, everything applies to everything. No, it doesn't, right? So there's certain things in a sales agreement that shouldn't be in there. Well, that's my job to find that thing, because I don't want you signing for something that you shouldn't be responsible for. Okay, so and every now and then things do slip through there, and once you sign it, guess what? You're responsible for it. So, and then of course I'm a show host on Air with Russell of Hotels. Did you know that On Air with Russell of Hotels was one of the top 30 podcasts for hospitality in 2021? And did you also know that Russell of Hotels is in the top 25 for as a social media influencer? And that distinction came from the International Hospitality Institute. So there you go. Contact information. How do you get a hold of me? Russell at russellofhotels.com is my email. So you can always feel free you can DM me, you can message me, however you want to get a hold of me. That's up to you. I'll respond. However you get in touch with me, I'll respond the way you want me to respond, because that's how it should be. Also follow me on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. So make sure you hit the subscription button on here on YouTube. I would appreciate it. And that's what I can't even speak, at Russell of Hotels. One thing I always mention is one thing to ask yourself. What is that? There used to be three things, but now it's just one. What are you doing to keep your brand relevant? What are you doing? What am I doing to keep my brand relevant? Well, I have On Air with Russell of Hotels. So I've been talking to you for about an hour. And I'm also keeping Hollywood relevant too because it's right above me. So there you go. See, I'm being a brand show off, not just for me, but for the brand Hollywood. So well, yeah, what are you doing? Ask yourself that question. What are you doing to keep your brand relevant? Are you coming on air with Russell of Hotels to brag about yourself or brag about your brand? You know you can do that. Let's see. Great accomplishments, Russell. You are the real deal. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Lonnie. And then Silver Oak is a great way. Is great. My go-to is a Juggernaut cab. Okay, 2018. Okay. Oh, Camus. Yes. Okay, very good, very good. Lonnie sharing his favorite wine with me. He's a wine snob. Just like I'm a non-meat eats foodie. He's a wine snob. So there you go. I won't go through the SSI scores today because I'm short on time, but I did get 70 out of 100. That was the last time I did it. And 3 P's: purpose, passion, and perseverance. Purpose, know why you're doing what you do. I just mentioned the reason why I do what I do. Um, I want people to remember who I am, to stay noticed, to be this brand show off. That's some of the purpose, and to have this show On Air with Russell Hotels, so hospitality professionals can make their comments like two gentlemen are doing now, or come on the show, talk about themselves, talk about their brand, and just being a sounding board for the industry. That's my purpose, right? Passion. Either you have it or you don't. And if you don't have passion for what you're doing, you need to do something else. Okay, find something else to do. All right. And perseverance. What's the perseverance? Be consistent. Continue to evolve. Don't give up, and swerve when you need to. Now, swerving is something that I talk about here, right? It's not like pivoting, as that's the word that overused term. I pivoted to do this and do that. Well, swerving is different. Okay, pivoting is you're already in the mess. Okay, pivoting, you're here, right? And the mess is all around you, right? So you just, okay, where do I go? Do I go to here? Do I go to there? Swerving, you see the mess in the horizon, and in order to miss it, you swerve around it. Okay, so there's a big difference between pivoting and swerving. Okay, so On Air with Russell of Hotels, or Russell of Hotels, he swerves. He doesn't pivot. Okay, so, and a lot of people are pivoting. They're just using that word swerving because everyone else is using it. Okay, so there you go. One more quick. The Agua Resort, Nicaragua. Just want to maybe I'll throw a little music on there for you. So we're getting close to the end of the show, or actually, I'm on the last slide now. Do you know I go through 27 slides to get to the end of the show? But anyway, and I don't own the rights to that song, so just in case you thought I did, I don't. Hey, do you guys remember this song? I played this song last week. You guys remember that? It's a theme song from this show that used to be called. It was called Hotel back in the 80s. Okay. Kind of cool little jingle, right? So I found that I was looking, I remember the show, right? It kind of dates me, right? And I said, you know what? I'm gonna add this to my rotation. So there you go. But I want to thank you guys for joining On Air with Russell Hotels. One last comment. Dylan says, will you have the opportunity to visit them, Russell? Yes. You know what? By the end of the year, yes. I will definitely be there by the end of the year, at least one time, because I have a group that's interested in going there, and they're already committed to going there. But I think before they go there, I need to go and check it out myself, right? So they've invited me to come up. I just have to come up with the dates. So I do have a couple of things that are in the summer for me already that are already planned, but I would say it'd probably be late summer or early fall, but it will definitely be by the end of the year. So thank you for asking that. So, but thank you guys for joining on air with Russell of Hotels. I do appreciate you guys joining me for this hour and some change. You guys have a great day, great week. Taco Tuesday. Have some tacos. Take care.
Please tune in every Tuesday at 1 p.m. as we talk to other hospitality professionals. Your feedback is important to Russell. Feel free to email him at russell@russellofhotels.com with any questions or suggestions. Until next time, try not to be a person of success. Rather, become a person of great value.